arcade adventures as a kid didn't really start until the early 90s, where it was actually the Simpsons arcade, the 4-player game, which had me and 3 of my friends splurging our pocket money on it, and on most weekends too. And from then on, my trips to the local arcade increased, and which helped to pick up an addiction for racing and rail shooter titles, and my love for fighting titles as well, especially by being subjected to games like Tekken, Soul Calibur, Virtua Fighter, and the incredible Killer Instinct. And of course, many of the classic arcade games I know and love have been ported to the home console market, and many systems have provided us with arcade sticks so that we as gamers can enjoy these titles from the comforts of our own home and still potentially have a great arcade feel that we all know and love. The question is, did the Sega Dreamcast's official arcade stick do just that? Well, welcome back to Video Games with James, and of course, yes, we're checking out another item from the vast array of Sega Dreamcast accessories. So the Sega Dreamcast Arcade Stick was released in 1999 and allowed many of our games to have that arcade feel. And the Dreamcast Power certainly enabled many arcade games which were ported to the console to become even better and greater than their arcade counterparts, especially in terms of the great Soul Calibur, and when combined with the arcade stick could result in a potent combination, and we'll be checking them out together in just a moment. So for now, let's dive in for a closer look to see what it had to offer. Okay, so the Dreamcast Arcade Stick has been typically decorated in the European colour scheme of blue and white, and around one of the side panels here we get a listing of features including 6 front mounted buttons, a robust joystick and base, micro switch technology, and is compatible with the visual memory unit. If I turn the box to the back now, we get once again a great description about the arcade stick, and it says the official Dreamcast Arcade Stick is manufactured to the same hardwaring standards as you would find in the arcades. The robust joystick, heavy base and responsive buttons allow you to push yourself to the limit of your ability and unleash the full potential of fast-paced Dreamcast games. Okay, so if I unpack the box now, we can take a look at the contents. And inside, of course, we get the arcade stick instruction manual, and of course, the arcade stick itself. Okay, so this is the Sega Dreamcast Arcade Stick, and simply I love these luminous green buttons. They just look brilliant. And this actual unit has a nice bit of weight to it. It's not exceptionally heavy, so you can carry it about quite easily. On the base, it has a metal covering and these 4 rubber pads, so it won't be sliding all over the place, so you can stabilise it on your table nicely. The arcade stick moves about nice and freely, and the A, B, C, X, Y and Z buttons are light to touch. You don't need a heavy hand to operate them, so when it comes to fast action, they are just perfect for that. In the top right hand corner you have a start button, and when it comes to plugging in your VMU, you just simply slide it in the back and you can see the screen and load and save all your game data. Then it's simply a case of plugging in the controller to your Dreamcast, and we're going to check out Soul Calibur, which is one of my favourite games for the system. So yes guys, we are checking out Soul Calibur, which was produced by the great Namco, which was released into the arcades in 1998 and made its way onto the Dreamcast in the following year of 1999, and is actually the sequel to the game of Soul Edge, which came out in 1996, and many of the characters have been ported to this version, and we're going to test it out with the arcade stick and see how we get on. So the options comprise of mission battle, arcade mode, a versus battle for you and a friend to take on one another, a team battle, a time attack, the typical survival mode, an extra survival mode, and you get a museum where you can get all the treasures you've unlocked throughout the game. Of course, there's a good old practice session, and of course we're going to dive straight into the arcade mode. All of the characters throughout Soul Calibur all have their different specialities, of course, like most fighting games, but all have weapons as well. Let's see how we get on here. And if many of you remember playing Killer Instinct in the arcades when it first came out, it had a 3D panning camera which would spin around the whole arena, and this has it, and I just absolutely love it. I love the way the camera moves around the action. Oh. Yeah, out the ring you go. What I also love about this game is that not only the graphics and the visuals just really stunning for the time, but the music to this game is absolutely epic and reminds me of some of the great music you'd hear in Zelda or Super Mario Galaxy, which came out just recently. Definitely helped to bring this game all together. Well guys, since we're here I figured that we'd actually check out the survival mode because it gives us a great opportunity to check out a ton of characters and to test my skills against the computer, and basically what will happen is that you'll get 1 round per character, and if you lose, it's game over. And first round, I have myself. Yay! That's a good start. Whoa. There's like an eye on his sword and it kind of reminds me of something out of Resident Evil? Whoa. Man, you need to go lie down. Woohoo! See you. Take that. For me, the Dreamcast Arcade Stick is a really solid addition and has a weighty base and doesn't slide about, and the stick and the buttons are really resilient, and so far haven't given in to my constant bashing and mashing of buttons. The only real downside to the arcade stick is that they're not cheap to pick up and they seem to hold their price extremely well. But then again, the build quality and the sturdiness of one of these seems to warrant that, and I think they're worth every single penny. Well, that's just about it from me for today, but I'll be back shortly with a new review, so I'll see you soon.